Hey guys, it's been a little bit of time coming, but it's finally here. This is my review of the Carmel Marathon, which was run back on March 30th. I know it's been a couple weeks since the race, but there's been a lot going on that has delayed this review. So here it is. Let's get to it.
I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and ride on time.
So as I said, Carmel Marathon, it was run on March 30th, 2019 in Carmel, Indiana. And if you're not familiar with where Carmel is at, it is just directly north of Indianapolis. In fact, it's the next suburb north of city limits. And so the race weekend, I'll be honest, this was kind of my goal race for this spring. The issue was, as we were getting closer and closer, the weather was looking terrible for this race. And unfortunately, it did not change really. Temperature started in the upper 50s, actually, or not, I'm sorry, in lower 50s. And you would think, oh, that's not too bad, but it might get a little warm. Actually, it dropped. The temperature dropped into the mid to upper 40s, but it was the rain and the wind that were the huge issues. So we'll get to that here in a second. First of all, the expo, it was held in Carmel High School. Last year they held it in their auxiliary gym. This year, it was put into a new part of the building. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was actually a fire, potentially did some damage to the auxiliary gym almost a year ago, and so I'm not quite sure if that played a role into it or not. But Expo's all right. It was decent size, many different races, some other vendors and such were there. When you got there, you go in, you get your bib first, and what they do is they give you this bag, reusable drawstring bag. This is your gear check bag. And they'll write your number on your bag. And that just makes it a lot easier when you go, you drop it off. You don't have to worry about tearing a tab off your bib or anything. Your number's right there already, and so on. And this is the race shirt for this year for the marathon. The half marathon was blue. So this is a marathon shirt. Obviously, I'm probably not going to wear this too much out in public other than running. And honestly, it's a little bit of a tighter fit anyway. So it's going to be just a running shirt for me. I don't really wear bright orange shirts out in public too much. So other than that, it's a nice shirt. Whatever. I don't care. So Expo, pretty easy to get in and out. Parking was a little bit of an issue. You did have to walk a little bit. Carmel High School is the largest high school in Indiana. And unfortunately for where the Expo was located in the school, parking was not the best. But it was all right. Still not bad. So moving on to race morning, as I said, forecast was not looking good. And when we were driving from the hotel to the race start, there are no hotels right there by the race start. You have to drive a few minutes, but it's not that bad. But as we were driving there, the rain was coming down. It was just pouring down. And we actually got there. We got into a parking garage, which was nice because it gave us some shelter to get ready. But I went out to go use the restroom, and I'm getting, the rain is just pouring down. I had my my poncho type heat sheet blanket that I got from Boston Marathon back in 2015. I took that out just to stay dry, and I came back to the car, and I'm like, okay, it may be 50 degrees, but with the wind and the rain, it is cold out there. And so I came back, and I told my wife Tina, I was like, listen. We both had plans on just wearing singlets. I was like, I think that's going to be a huge mistake. It's going to get cold. This does not feel good. Wear a jacket. And I went with a jacket too. So right before, probably about 20 minutes before the race, we are hurrying to get our bibs onto our jackets. She put them on her pants, actually, her bib on her pants. But I was getting the bib on my jacket. You'll see pictures of how I did that, but it's more of a vertical because I wanted the option of unzipping my jacket during the race. And so doing all that, I just decided, okay, this is just the way I'm going to run today. And so we got started. We got out to the start line. It's still raining. It's still coming down. No end in sight. we got going. They actually decided not to do wave start this time. They start everybody at the same time, just get everybody out on the course. That's just how bad things were getting. And so out there running, and I'm not even kidding you, 2 miles into the race, it stopped raining. And I was getting warm probably about mile 3 to 4. I was just like, okay, this is now turning into a huge mistake. And I am regretting it. And I'm thinking in my mind, oh my word, my wife is going to kill me for this. So still running. I am not getting the splits I want, guys. I wanted to run somewhere at least 3:10 marathon, and I wanted to be faster than that. Even 3:05 is my Boston qualifying time. I wanted to be there, and my splits are not getting there. I'm running somewhere between. I started off with a 7:30, which is fine, but then I could never get it down to 7:10s or 7:05s. I never got there. It's like 7:16 was the fastest I got in the beginning miles, and I'm getting warm, and I knew in my mind at that time, this is not my day. And so everything was going all right. I was just going that direction, like, okay, this is now turn. And I knew by mile 8, I was just like, this is now a training run. Things are not going well. I'm not picking up the pace. I've got another marathon on May 5th up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're just going to save it for that. And at the same time, I'm going through my head, I'm getting warm. I'm regretting this jacket, but my bib is on this jacket. This is a nice jacket. I am not getting rid of this jacket. So let's just keep on going. And by mile 10, then it downpoured again. It really started coming down hard. I remember even before that, people are like, oh, at least it's not raining. I'm thinking, I got a jacket on. I wish it was raining. It'd justify the reason for it. But anyways, between miles 10 and 13, maybe 14, it just started raining. And at that point, I was like, okay, this justifies wearing a jacket. I'm glad I have it now. Just keep on going. Try to hold on to a decent pace. Try to stay above the 320, in front of 320 pacers at least. And so I was doing that, and honestly, by mile 14, 15, 320 pacers caught me, and that was it. I wasn't going to run with them. I just kept falling back. And the one thing I kept on thinking, well, at least miles 16 to 23, I believe it is, I should have the wind to my back. And unfortunately, in those miles, the wind shifted directions, and it was coming out of north. I was running north, and a headwind all over again. I'd already fought it once, and here I am fighting again, and I don't have any control over that. But it was just a rough day. I ended up walking about mile 22. It was just I was just in a bad place at that time. Walked for a couple minutes, got going again, ended up finishing the rest of the race running, didn't walk anymore, but it was just not my day. That's all it comes down to. But as far as the race goes, I've heard going into this, many people complaining about the course. They don't like the second half of the marathon course. For one thing, it's kind of like a figure eight. You start a half marathon, we all start together, head out. Marathon actually does the first loop. The first loop is the half marathon course. So you have to run by the finish line as you're halfway and run back all the way around the do a separate loop. It's a different loop, but you have to do another half marathon loop after that. So it's a little bit demoralizing going through past the finish line, then realizing, oh, we still have to go, basically a whole 13.1 miles to the finish, which is a little rough. But overall, it is not as exciting as the first half. It's going through a lot of businesses and stuff. It's not going through the residential, which you do during the first half. But I didn't think it was as bad as people said. There were more bike trails on the second half as well than there was on the first half, which I like bike trails. But I thought it was all right. I think the course is all right. Obviously, yes, it'd be nice to go through the residential neighborhoods like we used to on the old marathon course, but that's all right. But when you did finish, you were given a medal, of course. I don't know of a marathon now, it doesn't. Here is the marathon finisher's medal. It's obviously in the shape of Indiana. This is, I believe, the fourth year of the red, white, and blue series. They had a white medal, a blue medal, and a red medal. This year, obviously, they have all three. This kind of just finishes up that series. Kind of just a nice shiny medal with the red ribbon with a race date. Carmel Marathon there across the front of it as well. It does have their sponsor, Franciscan Health, on the ribbon as well. Now, one of the things the half marathoners are complaining about is they basically sold the rights of the half marathon. So it is now the Drury Simmons Vornham, I don't know, LLP law firm group, basically, and it's that half marathon. It's no longer Carmel half marathon. It is the whatever LLP half marathon. So people were complaining about that. It does have Carmel marathon weekend down there at the bottom with the date, March 30th, 2019. This is basically the logo that was all over the front of the half marathon shirt. So that's what people are really complaining about. But what can you do? It's what races are doing now. They're selling the naming rights. I don't blame them. They're out to, if nothing else, break even on their costs. Operating these races are not cheap, and they're going to find ways of making it work however they can. So really, that's about it. Carmel Marathon, this is my third year of running it. I've ran a half marathon one other time, so this is the fourth time I've been a part of this weekend racing. It's still, I think it's still a great race. Worth coming to, especially if you need Indiana Marathon. If you're one of those people doing the 50 states, trying to get all 50 states in, I think it's well worth looking into at least. So I apologize for the lack of pictures. I throughout this video, I tried to put up some of the free photos that they did provide to us. But with the weather and everything else, I just didn't get out my phone to take pictures or anything. So just not a great weekend for it. So like I said, my next marathon's coming up on May 5th. I do have a couple other races coming up before that. Maple Syrup Festival 5K is coming up. I think our family's going to sign up for our local high school's band is doing a 5K race. It's called a Red Regiment 5K. We're going to all sign up and do that one. Day before actually I go up to Kalamazoo, Michigan, I am doing what's called David's Run 5K. It's a local 5K here in town that helps raise awareness of autism and also raises money for that as well. So I'm looking forward to those races. Got a busier schedule coming up, so I look forward to sharing more of that with you guys in the near future. So until then, I promise spring is coming. It's coming. I'm sorry for all of you guys in the Plain States who went through the blizzard this week. It's coming. Be patient. Get those miles in and take care. Have a great day, everybody.